Hello and welcome to our week in review. I'm Lucas, the quant and technology side of Veloris Capital. Let's start with the week in numbers. For the week of August 3rd to 7th, the Alpha Wizard strategy returned 0.2%. The S&P 500 rose 3.5% and the Nasdaq climbed 5.1%. So, the market had a strong week and we lagged it. Year to date, Alpha Wizard is up 12.2% against 13.4% for the S&P 500. Our largest drop this year stands at 19.1%, deeper than the index. Our Sortino ratio since inception is 1.0. Here is the picture. This chart shows our strategy against the S&P 500 since January 1st, both starting at 0. The shaded band on the right is this week. Our line moved sideways while the market pushed higher.
Thanks, Lucas. I'm Ronnie, and I watch markets and risk. First, the wider market. This was a strong week for stocks, with the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq both up sharply as buyers returned. Now to our risk overlay, the third pillar of our process. Every night, the system recalculates more than 20 risk indicators across markets and sets our equity exposure for the next day. Here is where we stand. You can see on the chart that our exposure began the week near 80% and stepped down to about 45%. So we are currently around 45% invested, with the rest held in cash. That places us in cruising mode, and our average exposure for the week was near 58%. The overlay is time-tested to control drawdown. It does not try to predict where the market goes next, and it manages risk across the whole book, never a single stock.
Thanks, Ronnie. Let's look at what moved the portfolio. Our biggest positive contributor was Allegheny Technologies, up about 22% on the week. DigitalOcean added close to 6%. SanDisk was roughly flat, down a fraction. On the other side, Davita fell about 24% and was our largest drag. H.F. Sinclair, an oil refiner, dropped 11%, and the hotel owner, Host Hotels, fell around 7%. Now to sectors, where we compare our holdings against each sector's benchmark fund. Our industrial names beat their benchmark strongly, led by Allegheny. But our technology holdings were roughly flat, while the technology sector fund rose about 7%, so we did not join that rally. Our healthcare holdings fell about 10%, well behind their benchmark. Honestly, in a fast-rising week, we trailed most sectors. By Friday, the book held a larger cash position, near 45% invested, so we did not capture all of the market's late strength. That is the trade-off of managing risk. 7 of our holdings reported earnings this week, and most came in ahead of expectations. Allegheny Technologies beat, earning $1.23 per share against $1.05 expected. DigitalOcean beat clearly, and Phillips 66, an oil refiner, came in well above forecasts. Arrow Electronics and Davita also beat. Host Hotels landed just a touch short on earnings. One thing worth remembering, strong results and a rising share price do not always arrive in the same week. The market had already moved on some of these names before the numbers came out.
Thanks, Lucas. Our spotlight this week is Allegheny Technologies, ticker ATI. So, what does this company do? It makes specialty metals like titanium and nickel-based alloys. These go into jet engines, aircraft frames, and other demanding parts where strength and heat resistance really matter. Here is the 6-month picture of its share price. As you can see, the stock has climbed steadily, and it is up about 64% over that period. This week, it jumped around 22% after quarterly results came in ahead of expectations. We hold Allegheny as one of 15 positions, each sized roughly equally. So no single name, this one included, carries an outsized share of the portfolio. If its story were to change, our monthly review can let it drop out at the next rebalance. We like the demand from aerospace and defense, and the company's improving profitability. Finally, what are we watching next week? The calendar is busy with economic data. On Tuesday, the Consumer Price Index gives us the latest reading on inflation. On Wednesday, we get producer prices and the weekly jobless claims figures. And on Thursday, retail sales will show how much people are spending. No holdings in our portfolio are due to report earnings next week. These dates are scheduled estimates and can shift, so always confirm them before acting. As always, we do not try to guess these numbers or trade around them. Our systematic rules set the positioning, and we let the process do its work.
Thanks for watching our week in review. If you would like to follow along, you can copy Alpha Wizard on eToro, where every trade is mirrored automatically in your own account. You can also read our weekly cockpit reviews and sign up for the Pit Lane Briefing, our newsletter. One important note: past performance is not an indication of future results. Your capital is at risk. We will see you next week.